Hi everyone, Jasmine here. I am coming to you live from Costa Rica. Yay! Okay, so for those of you who this may be your first time doing the live blogging Q&A with me, I am typically in San Antonio, Texas. And for those of you who are following our journey, I just moved to Costa Rica earlier this month. So that means that this is one of the scenes that you'll see going forward whenever I'm doing my live blogging Q&As. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jasmine. Hi, I am one half of Blogging Money Life. I also blog with my husband, Chris, and we like to share content when it comes to starting a blog, bringing in income with it, and just living your best life because of your blog. So I've been blogging for 10 years. Me having a blog is part of the reason why we decided to move to Costa Rica, just to have that flexibility and just to live more life in general. And I think one of my favorite things about blogging is being able to show other bloggers how to do it themselves. I love hearing those stories about people who said, you know, thanks, Jasmine, you helped me earn my first dollar with blogging. Or people who have quit their jobs because of their blogs. I love hearing stuff like that. So that's part of the reason why I like to do these blogging Q&As. Now, the way it goes is you can ask me questions live. I know I'm talking to a few of you on YouTube. I see you, the Ordinary Snob. Hi, thanks for coming on. I'm doing this through StreamYard. So if you're on Facebook, I think you have to authenticate or something beforehand so that I can see your little icon show up and I can pull your question up on the video like I just did just now. YouTube, if you're logged into your YouTube account, you should be fine. And then we just go from there. Now, for what I like to do, because I know I have several Facebook groups and then just some people posting on Facebook in general, just go ahead and post your questions in. Post your questions in the comments. I can see them and I will be answering them for you guys live. Now, I have multiple tabs here open that I'm just going to keep an eye on. I shouldn't have to because they all should come through to the tool I'm using. I'm using a tool called StreamYard that allows me to do streaming through multiple platforms, which is awesome. I highly recommend. And yeah, so definitely share your questions. Now, while I'm waiting for the initial questions to come in, I love to just tell a story about what my blogging journey has been like this past month, like any challenges that I know that I've faced or questions that I've received in the last few weeks. So I'll start with that. And if you guys have any questions along the way, feel free to throw them in the comments. Hi, Alicia. I'm glad that you jumped on. Thanks for coming by. If you have questions, definitely post them in the comments. Okay, so I'll talk to y'all about what I've been struggling with for this last month. Like I mentioned, my husband and I, Chris, we just moved to Costa Rica. We documented our whole journey on YouTube. Definitely check out that playlist if you haven't already. And I feel like my world's kind of been turned upside down. I am relearning how to do so many things from getting around because we sold both of our cars. We don't have a car here in Costa Rica right now, to just getting back to my day-to-day schedule with blogging, with my day job. And it seems really easy right now to just say, oh, you know, I don't need to work on my blog, or, you know, I have other things that I can focus on. Blogging is not really that important. I have all these things I'm trying to balance. And I feel like this is something that a lot of bloggers make this mistake. We get busy with life and there's so many other things that we do. And it is so easy to make an excuse and say, I'm not going to work on my blog. Now, I'll tell you what has been motivating me to continue to work on my blog. The first is reminding myself that even if I'm not doing as much on my blog that I typically do, the fact that I am still doing something counts. I know that I typically send out a newsletter every week, and I was a little bit behind with that. I went 3 weeks in a row without sending my newsletter, and I am usually pretty good about not missing more than a single week. But you know what? I made a point to say, okay, I'm still going to check my email, making sure that I'm replying to people, making sure that I'm getting content published on my blog so that it's not just falling off. So long as you're focusing on something that counts, right? So don't beat yourself up too bad if you are dropping the ball a little bit with your blog. The other thing I would say that has helped me with all these things that are just happening around me is counting my money, man. Like nothing motivates you more than like looking at dollar signs. I have a monetization tracker. You can actually get that for free if you go to bloggingmoneylife.com. We have our monetization tracker there. You can download it, and it's the same one that we use for Miss Millennium Magazine right now. And I go in that sheet every couple of days, and I just look at, did I earn any money? I look at my affiliate channels, I look at my advertising, and that is enough to motivate me to get up and do some stuff with blogging. So, just remind yourself of why you're doing this. I know everyone has their own reasons, whether it be wanting more time with your family or wanting to spend some time or just learning a new skill when it comes to blogging, whatever that reason is. I know for a lot of the people who have come to me, whatever their goal is, they need money to do it. So definitely remember your why and find a way to remind yourself on a regular basis why you're doing this. And for me, that's just going back and counting my money. If I realize I'm not making enough this month, that's a good motivator for me to go in and find some ways to hit those goals that I set for myself. And if I know that month, like, I want it to be even better. So all that to say is, take those steps, take those baby steps, whatever it is. Don't beat yourself up too bad if you're not getting as much done. Doing anything is better than doing nothing at all. So that is my little sermon for today. That's been my struggle this last month, and I'm definitely going to continue to work on it. And I want to encourage you all to do the same. All right, so I see we have our first question that came in, so I'm going to pull that up. And for those of you who are just joining, if you have questions, definitely throw them in the comments, and I'll make sure to get an answer for you. All right, so Alicia, she says, how do you stay consistent with weekly blog posts? All right, so I think that's a good question because the blog post part of it is pretty important, right? We're bloggers. They call us bloggers for a reason. And I want to first start by saying why it's important to have a weekly blog post. I know that I see a lot of information out there where some people say, well, can I just post once every 2 weeks or once a month? Well, the question for you is, do you want Google to be able to find your blog? If so, you want to publish at least once a week. And that gives Google pretty much a sign that says, hey, they're pretty consistent. Let's take a look. Let's say Tuesday at 3 p.m. they publish a blog post. I'm going to check every Tuesday at 3 p.m. to see if a blog post got published. So that's pretty much what Google is doing and why it's important to be consistent. Now, how do I stay consistent with the weekly blog post? I'll be honest with you, what I do, I have a couple of methods. The first is I kind of do a brain dump of content. I spend a little time, I'm not gonna even say once a month because it's more like once a quarter, where I'll just sit and think about blog topics. And I just knock out a bunch in a row. So I'll think about blog topics, put them all on a brainstorming sheet. And then, I'll spend some more time whenever I have that to work on outlining each of those topics. And then, I'll start writing each of those topics and, kind of go like bulk piecemeal that way. So once I have a nice bulk of content, I just, decide when is it going to get published and start going through those other steps, including writing the content, editing the content, creating social media images for it, formatting it in WordPress, and then figuring out what day of the week I want to schedule it. So that's my big secret when it comes to making sure you're staying consistent with blog content. Another thing I would say is get people to write on your blog for you. I love getting guest posts from other writers because it allows me to get more variety in my content on my site. So if you want to make a page or something on your website that says, hey, I'm looking for, that's a good way to make sure that you're getting weekly blog posts. The other thing that I like to do when it comes to staying consistent is going over my older blog posts. Now, this is something that I don't think you should implement if you have less than 100 blog posts on your site, because there's no need to really watch, to redo old content if you have less than 100 blog posts. But if you have more than 100, it's good to start looking at your older content and seeing, can I optimize this? Can I add more keywords to it so that Google can find it for SEO? Are there some articles where I can improve the social media images? Can I get longer? Can I add in? So that's something else I do. I usually republish at least one old article a month. So I usually republish at least one blog post a month. And that's another way to make sure you're getting new content. So when I say republish, I mean, I am taking old blog posts that was already published on my site. I am improving it, and then I republish it with a new date on my website. So, the new date changes, and Google recognizes that as brand new content. So that's another way to stay consistent with the weekly blog posts. So that is those are my tips as far as staying consistent with weekly blog posts. Actually, I have one more. The other thing I will say to make sure that it's a priority on your list is making sure you have a blog schedule. So for me, I have not done a good job, as I mentioned, because I haven't been as consistent these last few weeks with me moving. But what you want to do is set days of the week where you are focusing on specific things. So for example, every Monday, that's my day to work on my newsletter. And then Tuesdays is when I'm editing a blog post. And then Wednesdays is when I'll work on reviewing my emails. So if you can set days of the week where okay, it's Tuesday, it's time for me to work my blog posts, then you already had that time spaced out for your blog for that specific thing you do on your blog. And that'll help you with staying consistent too. What I have found, the biggest secret for this, because I know that sounds like a really boring tip and like, oh, well, what if I have other things to do? What you will find is once you get a schedule together and you set up a specific time that you're going to work on that specific thing on your blog, you will get faster at it. So if I know I'm working on my newsletter every Monday at 6 p.m., I can measure like, okay, last time it took me an hour to do my newsletter, and this time it took me 45 minutes. So now you can actually measure how long it actually takes you to write your newsletter. And same thing with your blog post. You can actually start measuring how long it takes you to do that. Now, someone can say like, yeah, you can do that anytime. Just use some type of scheduling tool or whatever. You absolutely can. I'm just saying this is an added benefit to already scheduling that time ahead and saying, this is my dedicated time. So one, you don't miss that task anymore. And two, you will get faster at it because now your brain just knows like, this is the time dedicated for this part of my blog. So I think that's a really good question. And honestly, if you can stay consistent when it comes to your blog, you are already more than halfway there. That is the most important thing you can do on your blog, and that's stay consistent. If you can do that, it's just a matter of time before you start bringing in income. So really good question, Alicia. I appreciate it. All right, let's see. We have a lot of questions here now. Keep them coming, you guys. I am going to get through as many of these as I can. So let's go on to the next question here. This question is from the Ordinary Snob, Susan. I see you. All right, I'm watching your course and you speak about Google Search Console. I have placed my blog URLs in there to be indexed. Is that the right way? I have 69 posts and only one was crawled. Okay, so I'm glad you asked this question. I talk about Google Search Console because it is like a secret weapon once you understand what you need to do to make sure that you're using it properly. So you got your blog URL there and you said it's indexed. That is the right way. You said you have 69 posts and only one was crawled. So I can think of two possible problems for what may be happening here. The first is you need to make sure that you add your site index to it. If you use a plugin called Yoast SEO, it's a free plugin. I know most bloggers use it. If you don't, download it and they will create a site index for you. Is that what it's called? Sitemap. Sitemap. It's called a sitemap when you go in to look for it. It's going to be like a URL or something, and then you can plug that into Google Search Console. If you're not sure how to go about doing that, just search on Google for how to add sitemap to Google Search Console, and they'll give you very thorough directions on how to do that. That way, it will scan your entire website and crawl all the pages that you want to get crawled. The second tip I have when it comes to making sure everything's being crawled on Google Search Console is submitting your links to Google Search Console anytime you publish an article. So fun fact, I had Google Search Console. I did the sitemap. And then I learned that, I learned this from an SEO person, that once you publish a blog post, you want to submit the link to Google Search Console so it can manually search and add that article to Google. Now, I told you Google's going to do the regular crawl thing and check your website, but Google is not very consistent about doing that themselves. So I know I did a search on my site, and I went through every single article that I was like updating to make sure that Google actually indexed it. And I want to say about 50% of my content was not indexed on Google. So anytime you publish a blog post, submit your link to Google Search Console. And this is how you do it. It's like when you log in, there's a little search thing on top. You just plug the link in there, and Google will tell you if it's indexed or not. And if it's not, you want to click on it to be indexed. And that way it'll start pulling more of your content. So I have a process now where every time I publish a blog post, I submit it to Google Search Console right after. And not only does this, they probably would have indexed it, but if they didn't, now you're covered, and it gets indexed pretty quickly as opposed to just waiting and it possibly not being indexed. So that's what I would do. One, get your sitemap from Yoast SEO and add that to Google Search Console. And anytime you publish new content, submit that link to Google Search Console so that they can crawl that new post for you. Really good question. Alicia says, oh, guest post, that's a great idea. I'm glad you thought so. I got a hi from Women Encouraged today. Hi, thanks for joining. Alicia says, I don't have any ideas for a newsletter. So let's talk about that. As far as like not having ideas for a newsletter. It's completely up to you what you want your newsletter to be about. Mine is pretty complex. I have like all these different sections and stuff. But honestly, what I've seen is the more simple your newsletter, the better. I find that people are really good at reading through bullshit. So, don't bullshit people in your email. I like to treat my newsletter as a chance to, I treat it like a journal. I'll be honest with you. It's a journal where I am sending it to all of my readers. It's a smaller amount of people as opposed to posting your deepest, darkest, thoughts on Instagram or Facebook. So I like it because of that. But also, it's a good way to connect with your readers. Think about your email list as your opportunity to build relationships with the people you are writing to. It's good to understand who they are and know them. So typically I'll send a message saying like, hey, this is something that I was thinking about this last week. I wanted to see what you guys thought. Hit reply and tell me what your thoughts are when it comes to this topic. So that's pretty much how it goes for me. And then I have my other sections where I'm adding different stuff. But like I said, not needed. You can just send a message to your list and say, hey, and it depends on your niche too. Like, for example, if you're a finance blogger, you may want to talk about, hey, have you ever gone out with a friend and they spent way too much money, and then you end up spending too much money, and you come home and realize like you just, broke all the rules you made for yourself to hit your finance goals. Those are things that people connect with, and it also makes you human. So it's just an opportunity to tell something very honest about yourself, whatever that may be, so long as it's relevant to your topic. I like to talk about anything happening in my life, and then I tie it back to blogging because I feel like everything can be tied to blogging one way or the other. So yeah, just think of it like that. If you are still having trouble with ideas, like sit down and write about things that you thought about when it came to your blog, like different blog topics. And one thing I've seen other bloggers do that I think is really good is they'll write a blog post that week And then their newsletter is just about their blog posts. So for example, that little example I told you about, right? You can talk about, don't you hate it when you spend too much money with your friends? I wrote a blog post this week that talks about how to stay up with your budget, even if you have friends that like to spend money like crazy, right? And then link them to your blog post so they can go and check that out. So yeah, it's just another way to kind of build that connection with your readers. I think it's also important to stay consistent with that because, you know, if you don't have readers, then why are you blogging? And your newsletter is a good way to, like I said, build that deeper connection. All right. We have another question from the Ordinary Snob. She says, in regards to a media kit, since I'm a newer blogger, my stats aren't great. DA is a 6. Should I include the stats? Man, I feel like I get this question all the time. And I want to first start by saying that one of the biggest problems I find bloggers make is that they they can't get out of their own heads when it comes to different things. So you're saying like, oh, I don't have great stats. Great stats for who, right? Like I've worked with, so a little backup story about me. My husband and I used to own a company where we sold French presses on Amazon. And it's, you know, a French press. So I wanted to get more information to people who like coffee. And so we reached out to coffee bloggers. Now, if you've never heard of a coffee blogger, that's because there are not a lot of them. And I am pretty sure I found every coffee blogger that there is. There are not a whole lot of them. And I went to all of their blogs because I wanted coffee bloggers. I didn't want to go to a big website like BuzzFeed or I don't know, what's the big ones? Wired or Mashable. Sure, my audience could exist there, but they're such a big site and they write about so many different things that it didn't really fit to what I was trying to do. So I went to some blogs where they were only getting like, I don't know, 200 visits a month. And here's the thing, like, I didn't care because I care that those 200 visits they're getting every month are related to the product I'm trying to sell. I care more about them being a coffee blogger than I care about how many visits they have or how many followers they have on social media. What I did care about is, are they consistent? Are they professional bloggers? And do they have the audience that I want? So, you know, there were coffee bloggers, you know, first point is done. Are they professional? There were many blogs I went to where I couldn't work with them because they didn't have a contact me page. They didn't have their email address on their website anywhere. And it was just impossible to contact them. They had great content, but I couldn't. So I couldn't work with them. And then the third problem, as far as them being professional, I had some bloggers where they weren't consistent as far as getting back to me. Someone didn't receive their French press because they, for whatever reason, said they couldn't find it, didn't want to do any of the writing. Some people got their French press and stopped replying to me. So that's what I mean about not being professional. Like if I'm going to send you something or pay you, you know, for what you're doing, get back to me in a reasonable hour. You know, treat your blog like you would treat your job. Don't, you know, ghost. You wouldn't ghost your boss, right? So why would you ghost someone when it comes to your blog? So yeah, I think those are the biggest things that matter. Your audience. Are you consistent? Oh, the third part, the consistency. Some blogs I went to and they hadn't posted an article in 6 months. So they had a contact page, their content looked great, but I figured that they probably weren't blogging anymore because they hadn't written in a while. So consistency, do they have the audience that I want? And are they professional? So though that's what really matters. If you don't have stats that are like, you know, like big numbers, I would say to make sure you point out those things to show that you're professional. One, having a media kit, you know, that already speaks volumes about you. Half the people I talked to did not have media kits. They didn't even know what a media kit was. And some people don't know what their stats are at all. They didn't have Google Analytics on their site. So, you know, being professional, that's great. Being consistent. If you are not, you know, publishing at least one blog post a week on your blog, and you go out and reach out to brands, I guarantee you they're going to look and see that and not want to work with you. So don't waste your time. Make sure you're consistent on your blog first before you reach out. And then when you are putting information on your media kit, make sure you point those things out. Say that, hey, I'm a professional. Even though I've only been blogging for this amount of time, I also have a background when it comes to whatever your topic is. So for example, I know I worked with one blogger. She didn't have a huge blog. She didn't have big numbers, but she had an incredible resume that was related to her blog. So I think her blog was about crafts and sewing. And she had won several competitions when it came to sewing and creating things, making patterns. She had beautiful pictures of like bags she designed. And I said, put that on your media kit. Yeah, you didn't do it for your blog, but you live this. You live and breathe sewing and crafts, and brands are going to be able to see that. So even if you have some experience that's on that topic that's not exactly on your blog, still include that on your media kit. Your media kit is your resume for your blog. So think of it like that. What background do you have that makes you an expert in whatever you're talking about? That should go in your newsletter. And just, make sure your stats are a little section on the bottom, like, oh, and here are my stats, by the way. They're going to ask you for them, so you can't not put them there. But, definitely fill in some more information so they get a better idea of who you are, who your audience is, and if they're reaching out to the right person. I hope that was helpful, because I feel like I just went a long about way to tell you the story and what brands are actually looking for. So yeah, good one. Very good question. All right, you guys. So if you have more questions, definitely post them in the chat. I am here to answer them for you guys. And I'm going to continue to answer those here. So go ahead and post them. Don't be shy. All right. Oh, yay. My sister's on. Hi. I'm always happy when I see familiar faces on the Q&As. All right. Question from Christopher Drown. If I'm watching on Facebook, how do I subscribe to your newsletter and YouTube channel? All right. So if you are watching on Facebook, you would want to go to YouTube, and you can search for the name of our blog, which is Blogging Money Life. Very simple, 3 words, blogging and money and life. We should come up with our profile. You can subscribe to our channel, and then that way you don't have to worry about missing any updates when it comes to our move to Costa Rica, or when it comes to any of the blogging tips, our monthly blogging Q&As, and anything else. As far as signing up for the newsletter, because I know I just talked about that at length not too long ago. For the newsletter, you can go to our website, which is bloggingmoneylife.com. And similar to what I just told you, just those 3 words and .com, no spaces or underlines or anything. And you should be able to sign up right on our homepage for our newsletter. All right, good question. All right, so it looks like you, Ordinary Snob, you sent one earlier, not sure if it posted. It's so funny you say that, because I thought I saw a question from you earlier as well, and I did not see it on this one. So I'm thinking maybe you posted your question on one of the other Q&As. So give me 1 second. I'm going to double check to see if I see it on one of the other Q&As that we have coming, because I know I have another one happening in September and then another in October. And I was looking at both today, so there's a possibility that maybe you posted there. All right, no, I don't see it in September. And then there's one for October. Okay, so no, I don't see it. I'm not sure what happened as far as your question posting, Susan, but I think I remember what you posted. So I'm going to try to paraphrase. And if I get it wrong, definitely post it in the comments and I can fix it. So I know you said that you were going through the course, my course, Blogging Money Formula, and you were thinking that you need to just redo some things, like start completely over, and you weren't sure where to even begin. You were getting a little overwhelmed with everything happening when it came to just starting from the beginning. And if I'm missing anything, go ahead and post in the comments there. But what I will say is, I know that feeling so well. Oh my goodness, I know the feeling so well. So I told you I had my blog, Miss Millennium Magazine, for 10 years now. And anytime I want to make a change to it, it is like a big ordeal. Like everything I do is like, oh, I just found out I've been doing SEO wrong. Now that now I have to make sure that I change all 2,000 of my articles so that they are all SEO'd up. So yeah, I understand what that feels like to just get overwhelmed by it. But what I will say is, same thing I've been telling myself, baby steps. You know, you can't let yourself get overwhelmed with all the little things that there are with blogging. There are so many things. And I know now that I have my one blog and then I just started a new one, it has its benefits starting over with a new blog, because I'm like, oh, wow, now I can do this from the beginning. I don't have to go and change this on all these other articles or, you know, make these updates because I was doing it wrong before. But the other side of that is like, I am starting all the way over again. And this is kind of a pain, trying to grow my social media, trying to, you know, get my page views and my SEO and all those things up. So I say, just take it one step at a time. You know, when I go through a course and they're telling me, you know, all the stuff in the beginning, like here are your basic things you need to do, because I know I have a whole section on getting the basics right. I pretty much walk you through like, okay, here's the first thing. For example, like making sure you have important pages on your site. If you already have those pages on your site, great. This is a great opportunity for you to audit those pages. So let's say you already have a Work With Me page on your website. Open up your Work With Me page and then read through my course or watch the video on that section on what does a Work With Me page need to have. Look through yours. Are you missing certain things? Let's add those things to it. And that's one way to go about it. Or you can write down all the things that you know a Work With Me page should have, kind of draft something up on your own, say like, okay, I want my Work With Me page to have this, this, and this, and then go to your page and see what you have and see how you can work those things in, or just start all over with a brand new page. That's completely up to you. I'm not a perfectionist by any means, so I'm a big fan of, you know, it's good enough, let's get it done, because there's a lot of other things to do. So, you know, whatever floats your boat, but don't get caught up in the minutia of all this stuff. Remember your why. And if you're focused on these little details that aren't really going to make a big difference in how much money you're making, then don't waste your time on it. I'll give you like something that really helped me when it came to understanding what makes sense and what doesn't, as far as like changing things, optimizing things, building things. This was a tip I got when it came to making freebies for your newsletter. So for a long time, the newsletter just tripped me up so much. Like, I knew I had to get one blog post out a week, and I was just getting into a cadence like, yes, I'm finally doing it. And then someone told me, oh, are you doing a weekly newsletter? And I'm like, I got to do that too? I just got in the cadence of doing a dang blog post every week. But once I got the newsletter up, it became my favorite thing, because I love just being personal and being able to talk to people about what's going on with them and their blogs and stuff. And then the other part that really tripped me up was the freebies, because, you know, if you're going to get people on your email list, you have to have freebies to give to people. So a lot of people were giving away courses. Like, they would give away a course for a freebie. So I said, okay, I want this to be a good one. I'm going to do a course. I spent weeks building this thing. Like, I made a whole course for people so they can get it for free. And then someone, you know, another mentor of mine said, why did you do that? If you're going to spend weeks on this thing, you should have sold it. I'm like, well, how do I know if I should sell it or if I should give it away for free? Here's how it goes. If it is something you're giving away for free, it should not take you more than an hour to make it, period. So if it's something that's going to take you more than that, you probably should be selling that thing. But again, like, you need to think about where you're putting your time. If you're spending all of your time, you know, making sure the colors are right with that freebie, or you're spending all your time saying like, oh, I couldn't find this font and I really wanted this font, so I had to go out to this new country and get this font or whatever, you're spending too much time on things that don't matter. Now, if you're spending a lot of time on things that makes that freebie better as far as like its functionality and making sure that people understand how to use it better, or, you know, maybe recording a video that shows them how to use that freebie, that's time well spent. But still, the rule applies: no longer than an hour. So kind of think about that. Like, if there is a task that you're working on that is not going to really make a huge difference in like how much money you're going to make or your brand overall, don't spend a ton of time on it. You know, just don't. Figure out, how can I get the bare minimum of this done? And if you come back to it and make improvements to it later down the road, I think that's okay. But it's definitely better to have something finished and in front of you than it is to have something half done and still not perfect sitting on the side. Who knows if it's ever going to get done, because, you know, it's never good enough. So just those are things to just keep in mind. Keep it simple. Go through many of those checklists that I give. Go in order. And if you have questions along the way, definitely jump in the Facebook group and ask, because I'm there. I check it every day, and I'm more than happy to even jump on a call, not a call, but I'll jump on Facebook. And if you want to share a video of your website or what problem you're having or something, I'll jump in there and I help you out. So hopefully, I think that that's helpful when it comes to just feeling overwhelmed by it all, because it is a lot. I'm actually working with a brand right now on a campaign to pretty much talk to people about why blogging is so relevant, because I know for a lot of younger generations, they're all about just either TikTok or Instagram, and just, why create a blog when you can just do all these things on these channels? Well, I feel like your blog is just one asset of your business, just like your Instagram account is one asset of your business. Your email list is another asset of your business. And when it comes to having all of those things, you just have more clout. And that is definitely relevant when it comes to Google and just about every other platform out there. The other part too about having a blog as opposed to just having a social media channel like just Instagram or TikTok is you actually have control over it. So long as you buy your domain, you're paying for hosting. If there's a big algorithm change on Facebook or Instagram, you don't have to worry about losing all of your followers. Same thing when it comes to email. Once you get their email address, it's yours. You don't have to worry about losing it because people unsubscribed, or because Instagram had some type of change and they decided, oh, well, even though you have 10,000 followers, we're only going to show, 5% of them your content because that's what we want to do. Screw you. You want to be on our platform. That's what we're going to do. Every platform has done this. Every social media platform has done it. I know Google has done it with every algorithm change that they've done. So yeah, take it one day at a time. I know it's overwhelming, but it is so worth it at the end of the day. And I can tell you, because like if you look at any of these sites where people sell their blogs, they're getting a pretty penny for it. Like, good luck trying to sell your Instagram account for anything near what I think a lot of blogs are being sold for. So I think that was a good question. Let me know if you have more. I'm happy to answer. All right, let's see. What other questions do you guys have for me? I love talking about blogging. As you can see, I can go on a rant forever about whatever. Yay! Oh, and it looks like Susan, you said, nope, that was it. I'm glad that was your question. I honestly have no idea what happened to it, so I'm sorry that it disappeared, but I remember seeing it for sure. What else do I have? Let me know what your blogging questions are in the comments. So while I'm waiting for more questions to come in, I just want to reiterate that the Q&A that we're doing right now is something that I do every single month. It's usually towards the end of the month, and it's live because I like to be able to answer people's questions in real time. If this is your opportunity to watch the replay, hi, I'm glad you're watching the replay. Definitely still post your questions and I will get an answer to you in the comments as well. So yeah, the more the merrier. I love talking about blogging. And if there's something I don't know the answer to, I'll be sure to let you know that too, or at least, point you in the right direction of where you need to go to get an answer for that. Chris asked, what is the Blogger Supporting Bloggers Facebook group? Okay, so I know some of you may be watching from the Blogger Supporting Bloggers Facebook group, actually. For those of you who don't know, I own that Facebook group as well. I think we have about 40,000 members right now. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a place where bloggers can support other bloggers. It's free to join. We do a lot of follow threads and different things like that in the group. Every day we have a different, what do you call it? Like, I guess chain or topic that we go over, whether it's like, hey, here's something new I posted on Instagram, go ahead and follow it. Or we have one day of the week where we do a Q&A so people can post their questions in a thread. And it's great because I'll go in and answer questions, but you're getting answers from everyone. You know, all bloggers from all over the world are jumping in to answer questions for other bloggers. So that's cool. We actually feature one blogger a week on Sundays. So that's pretty cool. So if you want to be featured, I have a server that you can take in there to put in your information and jump in line to be featured, because we, like I said, we feature someone every Sunday. And what else do we do? What else do we do in Blogger Supporting Bloggers? I do the Q&A. So this Q&A is actually being shown there right now. And then I also do ads. So if you are interested in promoting your product or anything like that in the Blogger Supporting Bloggers group, I have pricing available too. So like I said, it's 40,000 people in that group and a lot of eyeballs. I actually bought this Facebook group from someone else. So prior to purchasing it, I used to buy ads in it because it was such a great audience for what I was doing, because I was teaching people how to blog and talking about my different products that I was creating. And it's been pretty awesome as far as like getting me a good amount of sales for different things. So yeah, it's a great group. I will give y'all the link to the group here. So give me 1 second, let me grab it for you. And then if you have questions about it, let me know in the comments. So here's the link to the group. Here we go. And then I know there were other questions too about how to sign up for our YouTube channel, how to, let's see here. Oh, awesome. Great. Chris is adding it there for me. So awesome. So yeah, there's a Blogger Supporting Bloggers Facebook group. And then we'll also add the link to our website in the comments as well, if you guys want to check that out. And then we'll also share the link to, let's see, our YouTube channel. So YouTube, our website, and the Blogger Supporting Bloggers Facebook group. Definitely join all three because it's different information in every single one. All right, really good questions so far. What else do you guys have for me? Anything else? Any questions I can answer? All right, I'm not seeing any others pop up. So I think our next call, here, I'll tell you guys when the next Q&A is, and you can go on YouTube and go ahead and RSVP for that one now. It is scheduled for September 29th. I do the same time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, which I think is, what time is it? So CDT time is an hour after. So it's 6:46 for CDT. And that means it's 7:46 Eastern time. All right, so I have this at the same time as far as like in the evening, because this is when I get off of work and it's just convenient for me. But like I said, if you are jumping on and watching the replay, feel free to ask a question in the comments and I'll make sure to get an answer for you. It's just going to be in the comments as opposed to in the video. And I hope to see you all next month in September. Just as a reminder, if you have questions along the way, you can definitely add the questions in the chat for next month's video. And I can make sure to get those to you ahead of time. Not ahead of time, get that to you, get those questions answered during the video. And if you want to reach out to me, you can send us an email at team@bloggingmoneylife.com, and I can get you whatever you're looking for. So thanks for jumping on tonight, everyone. I think we had a really good turnout, and I will see y'all next month. Bye.